You know what? In my Streamlabs OBS, I'd really like to be able to display a video that I either downloaded from another source, or maybe it's a video that I took myself and I would like to show it as part of my live stream. Well, in this video, we're going to jump into media sources and how to be able to display a video on your screen. Now, on my screen right here, I have the layout that is actually going to be the portion that is broadcast out to the public when I'm doing a live stream. I have a blank palette right now that is my new scene that I've added in here. I have another video that talks about the different layouts, but we have scenes right here, and then we have sources, and you can see my microphone is working just fine. So if we go to add a source, we have a number of different sources that are available. And the first one that we're going to deal with right here is a media file. So let's go ahead and select media file, and you'll see that by selecting media file that you can add an MP4, a TS, a movie, an FLV, MKV. You can see the list, an MP3. So this is a way that you could also play a audio file or a GIF file that would show. But right now, for my purposes, I'm going to show, in this example, an MP4 and also a GIF. So when we select this, when we select add a source, as any time that you're adding a source, you get to name what the source is. So you can either name it so you know what particular video file it is, or you can just leave it as media file. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as media file. Now, it gives you some choices here as to, is this going to be a local file that you're working with? A local file means that you're going to browse on your own computer to find the information. If you do not select that, then it's going to wonder, where is the input? Where are we looking for? In this particular example, I'm going to go through all of the choices that are here, and I'm going to work with a local file, a video file that I've already downloaded to my computer. Warning, if you change the location, if you move, if you copy and paste, or not copy and paste, if you cut and paste your source media file, and you go to change it, when you go live and click that particular source, it will not be available. So you must keep the integrity of the file location. So I'm going to go ahead and add the file. I'm going to browse, and I'm going to go to my movies, and I have a file that's picked out here. It's a great movie of Joseph Newgarden doing a practice run at the Thermal Club. I'm into racing on another channel that I do live streaming on. So there you see the video running, but we didn't get to do all of the updates and the options that we need to. Not to fret, we can still go back to the gear symbol. Notice the video ended. It was playing for a particular time, it ended, and now it went back to the black screen. Well, if I'm live streaming, I don't want dead air, I don't want it to go black. So let's go back to what the choices are. One of the choices, after we've selected the file, and you notice that it has the location of where the file is, I then have the opportunity to loop. If I loop it, then it will go through the video. It will show what is going on in the video. We'll show him making the turns, etc. He'll come up to the smoke. I just already know this particular video. Once he goes through the dust there, and you see all the dust on the camera screen, that's what I was trying to show, because they were racing in a desert location. Now it restarted on its own, and it did the loop. That's the setting that you have here by selecting loop for it to go through. When the source becomes active, restart the playback. And so what the restart the playback is, I'm going to leave that on right now, and I'm going to close my options. When I go over here to my camera only choice, I'm on the camera. Now when I go back to the new scene, it started the video from scratch. That's what the playback setting is, that the restart playback when source becomes active. If I turn that off and close this and go back over to my camera only and now change to the new scene, it picked up the scene where it was in the middle of playing the loop. So if I went over here now, came back to it, it would be back into the place he's already gone through the dust. You can see that on the screen, and now it would re-loop. So that's what the setting is for the restart playback when source becomes active. You can, if you have a graphics card, if you want the hardware decoding when it's available, to make sure that it's processed the video so that it's feeding it through to your stream more efficiently, then you can select this particular option. Show nothing when the playback ends. So you'll notice that when I didn't have the loop on, it went through and it just stopped. It went through and it was a black screen. So I'm going to show you this with show nothing when playback ends. It's going to go through the settings of it. He's going to come back up again. We're not too long in the video. It's going to go back through this. We're going to get to the end of the video just around this turn, and then blank. It's going to go to a dark screen. The way to prevent that is that if I unchecked this and showed nothing when playback ends, it's going to freeze at the last frame that you're presenting. Now, if I'm giving a description about this, like I was talking about on a live stream, well, look how he comes through the dust, and on the camera, all of that dust would get on his camera, it would get into the engine, and notice how you can see this because the video froze at the very end of the presentation. That's controlled right here by the show nothing when playback ends. I can close the file when inactive. The difficulty with closing the file when inactive is that it may take it a lag time to be able to reload, and I want it to be on demand, because if I'm giving a presentation, if I'm giving highlights, if I'm teaching on a live stream and I want to say, okay, now let's go to the action, and I have to wait for it to reload, there would be a difficulty with that. You'll notice that it's set at a regular speed. I can speed this up as if he wasn't already going quick enough. Joseph Newgarden, the two-time back-to-back Indy 500 champion, I think he's quick enough. But if I wanted to get to my point very quick, I could have it play quicker, or I could have it as a, let's go back to the look at here and slow down and have it be appearing. I cannot adjust this while the video is playing. You'll notice that there's no player over here for me to be able to stop it or start it. That's one thing about the media file player, is that once you've indicated that this is where you want the video to show up, that it will show up. So we'll adjust that back to 100. Your color range, you have an ability to adjust this. Maybe you only want to do it as a limited range because you only have so much bandwidth to be able to stream, to go through. Also, the ability to apply some of the different settings and the options that you have depending upon the file size. Now, again, it did not loop. It showed nothing when it got back here. I uncheck that so that it is showing the final screen. I go here. Just like any other item that's appearing on a screen, I can drag and drop from the corner and have it appear where I want it to appear on my particular screen. Can do the layout, and the same thing, I can use on a Mac, the option button, and crop in the information so I was only showing the inner portion of it and be able to size the video. If I wanted to move this media file to another scene, I could change it here, adjust it, make the changes to it, have it appear up here in the corner, and then I would be giving my, there we go. The other way, I could say, okay, well, here goes the highlights. Here's the information that's showing. I'm going to go back over to this particular scene and have it here. If I did not want this to show, then I always have the hide and unhide, where I could say, okay, well, there was the information. There we go. We watched that video for the tutorial. I click this. It does show me the frame of where the file is going to be, but it is hidden. So if I go back over to the camera and then go back over to this scene, it was hidden. When I go ahead and show it, then it starts the file and is able to show what's going on with the file. So those are the settings for this. If I want to add another video file, if I want to go in and say another media file and add a source and say that this is going to be media file 2, I can go ahead and add that particular source. It's going to be a local location again. And in this particular case, I'm going to do it in my downloads, and my downloads are going to be a arrow that appeared there very, very quickly on my screen. So let's go ahead and loop this, because I want it to continue to loop. And this is where I was saying that we could do the layers on the screen and say, I want this to show up. Now, I can't select when I want it to show up. I could have it available here on it, and it's not transparent, it's not see-through at this particular time, but I could have the information showing here, let this particular file play. So we'll go back to the media file, we will loop it, and then I would have the first one available, and I could choose it to say, yes, I want it to show it at a particular time. So you can already imagine I'm going to get to the point where he gets to the dust. As he's going through the dust, I'm going to say, hey, well, look at there. See the screen of how the information, what is going on there. You could play with the background. I'm going to try something here. I'm going to go through and play with the filters and edit the filter of this particular file. And I could say, I could change it to a grayscale. I could change the particular colors of it. What it will not do is get rid of the background that I have for it to be able to show. It would need to be a transparency for this particular point. Just showing you the example of how you could put a GIF file in here and have it show up on the screen. And then if you wanted it to disappear, you could hide this. So this is a complete tutorial on the media file. I hope that helps you of doing the media file source. We went through all the details of adding that particular source. We also showed that if it's a media file that is a movie, of how we would be able to loop it, restart when the source becomes active, show nothing when a playback ends. This is kind of a negative that you have to uncheck it so that it does show you the last screen, and then you have the ability to control this the speed of this. Could be something that you would have in a gameplay, could be fun of something that you have pop up real quick with the hide unhide, as far as green flag or yellow flag, or something where if somebody got an answer correct, you would be able to have a animation that would come up and give them very similar to what the action box does. So there you go with the media file. Hope that helps. We've got other videos on the channel that'll go through step by step and the scenes that you can add and the sources. We'll have a tutorial for every single one of them. Would love for you to comment, give me a like, subscribe. Happy streaming, and make it a great day.